Ladies and gentlemen, live from the top of the food chain, Brooklyn, New York, a new day has arrived in cable TV. Strap yourselves in for a fun ride. It's the Cyclone Variety Show. Now here's your host, Cyclone!
Thank you, Chucky. And yes, we are indeed live. That's right, this show is now just like one of my relationships. No do-overs, no second chances, just one shot. Which reminds me, everyone here, please treat your cell phones like I treat women. Turn them off. Speaking of women, I got some great news for all of you. The Kardashians have been canceled. All of them gone. Finito. Yay! Let's see what else is going on. I finally joined Instagram, or as they call me, Instaton. And I just saw this photo of Justin Bieber, and he was wearing one of those zipper hoodies, no t-shirt, and his nipples were exposed, which made me think, I think I want to become a webcam model. What do you think, people? Should I show these bad boys? And speaking of topic of boobs, it's almost Mets baseball season, and they have just announced that Huey Lewis in the News, Boyz II Men, and 50 Cent will all have concerts at Citi Field this year. Which is kind of ironic because, much like the Mets, none of them have had a solid hit in a decade. And Mets pitching prospect Noah Syndergaard is being called a young Doc Gooden. I guess that means he'll be doing heroin in a couple of months and then pitching a no-hitter for the Yankees in a couple of years. Okay, look, if I seem a little frazzled, it's because I haven't been able to sleep recently, everybody. My neighbors have been banging on the walls all night long because they're doing some construction, and last night I finally decided to put my face against the wall and just start screaming at them, "You can keep knocking, but you can't come in!" Okay, fine, I guess I can't sing. You know, I like animals, and just to tell you something about one of my favorite animals, spiny lobsters travel in more than 50 in a group on the ocean floor, and that shows like a conga line, okay? That's their version of Dancing with the Stars, but they call it Dancing to the Dinner Plate. The only safe ones, though, are on this season's version of Hell's Kitchen. Holy smokes! Have you people seen this show this season? These guys can't even cook like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And what else is going on? Oh, Judy Garland's ruby slippers from The Wizard of Oz. They were recently actually stolen by a woman on Staten Island. And apparently when she was arrested, she tapped her feet and told the police that she just wanted to go home. Wanted to go home. Wanted to go home. Sort of like me right now. But are you guys ready for a great show? Good, because I know I am. And these two musicians will make you think you're in the wonderful land of Oz. David Cornero and Matt Gaela. Guys, that was absolutely awesome. Can you guys play another song a little bit later? Cool, thanks a lot. And guess what? We will be back with a very special interview right after this. Welcome back, everybody. And my guests right now are true men's men, okay? The American Nightmare from Warriors of Wrestling, superstar Logan Black, and ring announcer Sam Gomez. Guys, thanks for coming on down.
That's great to be here.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, so Logan, let's start with you.
Let's start with me.
Okay. How long have you officially been in WoW?
I was there since the beginning. Warriors of Wrestling started. Actually, we had our 6-year anniversary show in December. So we're now in our 7th year. I was there from the get-go. I helped start the company with the owner, Joe Bellini. We both came from the same wrestling school. We met up there. We were kind of tired of the way things were going over there, so we decided, let's start our own company. Let's do things our way, and let's try and make something of this. And 7 years later, 6+ years later, we're still going strong.
And I heard that there was a little doubt about you guys from the...
Well, there was a lot of doubt about us. There was a lot going on at the time. Our trainer, who shall remain nameless,
Joe said the same thing. You guys just don't like naming names.
trying to be, PC, trying to be all nice to certain people. But no, our trainer over there wasn't a really great guy in terms of being able to appreciate talent or even appreciate anything that he had. So when a whole mess of his guys just walked off and were like, we want to do these other shows, we want to have fun, and we want to do this, his quote was, "They'll be one and done. They won't last past one show." And 6 years later, a profitable company that's running, drawing huge crowds, I think we kind of proved him wrong.
Eye of which is one many a time, by the way. So how would you say that WoW has changed through the years?
Oh wow! I mean, we're certainly a different company now than we've ever been. I mean, this year especially, this is most definitely our biggest year in operation. We're bringing in major wrestlers every single show, in addition to all the great talent we already have, which is something again we've never done. It was always a special kind of show where we'd bring in some kind of big TV name. Now every show there's multiple big name wrestlers on the show. And I mean, the fans are taking notice. The crowds are growing. The fans are more appreciative. We're getting fans. We get DVD orders from the Midwest, from the West Coast. So people are taking notice. When we started out, it was a group of misfits. Everyone called us the promotion of misfit toys. We
Nice.
were just all the rejects from everybody and all the people who just wanted to prove something. And now we have proven it. Now we're just kind of pushing the envelope in every way we can.
See, I'm surprised you guys didn't go with Misfits of Wrestling.
Funny enough, that was my actual suggestion to
Really?
Joe from day one, was Misfits of Wrestling.
Joe, listen to your talent, Joe. You don't listen to me. You don't listen to him. What's wrong with you, Joe? Now you personally have just finished a massive, long bloodbath with one of your former allies
Right.
in Dirtbag Dan.
Yeah.
And I happen to have been sitting there ringside for that last match. And first of all, the fact that you're still like coherent, I don't know, is like an act of God. But
Coherence debatable, but
but you are. How much did, first of all, did it bother you fighting a former ally? And second of all, did it take that much out of you?
Well, we'll start from the beginning with that. Dan is somebody that I've known since the first year anniversary show of Warriors of Wrestling. I actually knew him a little bit before that. He was a stalwart in the independent wrestling scene in New Jersey, New York, and wrestled all over the place. And Dan and I wrestled the BA Kid, who's still wrestling for Warriors of Wrestling, and Chris Cartagena at the 1 year anniversary show in what was a death match. And Dan and I had been close ever since then. And about a year or so ago, he kind of, jumped ship on me. Kind of was listening to the wrong people, and to me, it's not exactly how you go about doing business. So Dan and I had some issues, and for the better part, I'd say the last 6 months, we had been working those issues out physically with anything that wasn't nailed to the floor. So it definitely did bug me quite a bit to be in there with someone who, not only someone who I actually, shed blood with, like as a partner. Now I'm, beating him silly to shed his blood in the ring with me. But the fact that this is somebody who knows me better than pretty much anybody out there. So if there's any better match for me in the ring, it's definitely him. He knows everything that I do. He knows everything that I go for. He's, I'd say, a textbook perfect opponent in that regard.
Now, do you personally like singles action better, or would you like tagging up?
Well, I look at it like this. I have been a tag team champion in Warriors of Wrestling. I was a no limits champion in Warriors of Wrestling. I have one more title to win over there before I could honestly say that I've done everything that I possibly can within the company, and that's the heavyweight title. So singles action is where my focus is, and that belt is without a doubt the focus that I'm going for.
Hear that, Joe? Time to put some contracts together. What do you think? By the way, what's the worst injury you've ever suffered?
That's a hard question because there's so many of them.
I mean, you do, look. Let's face. Let me put it out there to you guys at home watching. This gentleman here throws his body around, has no regard for it, and then comes out and says, "Hey, it's what you guys want, so I got to do it." And that's to be commended, seriously.
Right. And I'll preface that with studies actually showing, like, I'm going to get scientific for a minute. So every bump that we take in the ring is the equivalent of a 20-mile-per-hour car crash.
Right.
So, put that together with, like, 5-6 bumps within a minute, and you're looking at, like, some serious body damage. I think the worst injury, or rather the scariest injury I ever have, was a match against Jason Cross, who's a former Warriors of Wrestling heavyweight champion, current Warriors of Wrestling tag team champion. He had thrown what they call an insecurity, which is just a step-up kick to the back of the head. And he hit me at just the right spot to where, I mean, I don't know where he hit or why, but the second I got hit, the right part of my body just completely went numb. And I went down, and I'm just like, this rush of fear comes over you where it's like, is this going to come back? Is it going to be okay? Am I going to be, a cripple? What's going on? Luckily, within like a half hour, it started to come back. It's what they call a stinger in wrestling. So, but it was the first of that kind. And just, again, in the moment, not being able to lift my right arm or like really put any pressure on my right leg really scared the hell out of me.
I'd imagine so. And on that note, to both of you gentlemen and to the rest of the company, I want to end my condolences for Ian Price passing away. And I know he was ring announcer before you.
It was.
So, how much did he mean to you personally that you wind up replacing him?
To speak about what Ian Price meant to me, I mean, it's really, I'm not trying to, it's so sad that he passed away. He was too young.
Absolutely.
Too young. And, he was there for the company when they started. When they started, he was there, and I was in the crowd yelling at the wrestlers as, just another fan with a loud mouth. And, at a certain point, I got lucky, and he missed a show that he couldn't make. I believe it was for health reasons. and they said, you know what, you did a great job. We think you might be a better route than Ian. And you know, I appreciate that what he did in the first, you know, couple of years of the company. I appreciate that he was so cool about letting me come in and saying, you know what, if you do a better job than me, then you deserve the job. And you know, rest in peace to him.
Ian was an interesting character. I remember maybe a month and a half prior to the first Wars of Wrestling show, I was in Ian's living room making the tickets for our first show, because everything that we still to this day do is, you know, DIY, do it yourself. Ian was an interesting character. We had our differences, but I think at the end of the day, Ian and I both knew that, you know, anything we said or did was just always done in jest, and it's incredibly unfortunate that he's no longer with us.
Right. Now, that being said, is there like a... Do you picture yourself like a Howard Finkel type, or like a Michael Buffer? Because let's face facts, Michael Buffer makes over $1 million every single time he or someone else says, let's get ready to rumble, or let's get ready to whatever. He makes personal appearances on it. He has a couple of houses, I believe.
I'm sure, yeah.
So, I mean, is that something you'd want to,
you know,
or even picture yourself?
People have mentioned that to me before. It's not the first time that question's been posed. The way I see it is, basically every show we have, somebody comes up to me at a certain point, usually during intermission, maybe after the show, and they say, hey, you know, Sam, you did a great job, shake my hand. And I go, oh, you know, I just talk loud. That's all I say, is I talk loud. I stand in the ring, I hold a microphone, and I say words loudly, names. I don't really see it as a big deal. I do what I do because I love what I do. I love Warriors. I love what we stand for. I love what we're trying to do. I love the causes that we run shows for, you know, for autism, for Earth Day, for the Staten Island Boys Football League. You know, all these other things that we do, we're cementing a legacy of independent wrestling in Staten Island or Brooklyn. We ran in Jersey, all these places. And it's a positive thing because there are not many businesses in general go under.
Right.
Most businesses don't succeed. Now, independent wrestling businesses, I mean, it's so ridiculously difficult to succeed, and we've done that.
Yeah, Joe mentions that in the documentary when he talks about, you know, all these companies. Like when we started, we had so much competition against us in Jersey. Every single one of those companies, he mentioned like 10, all gone, all done.
Now, let me ask you, being that you guys brought this up, there was a little bit of a word of wanting to do a softball challenge that I heard about. See, I got eyes and ears all over the place. Now, listen, I'm not saying I'm the straw that stirs the drink around here at Brick, but let's face it, folks, I am the one around here. So on behalf of every producer here at BPN and at Brick, and I'm sure they're all going to kick my buttocks once they hear that I opened up my mouth, I would like to extend a challenge, us against you guys, to a softball game. Now, I don't know where we would be a medium point of meeting, but it's something that I came up with. And, see, I want to do this because, well, nothing against Joe. I love Joe. Joe, I love you so much. But the fact of the matter is, Joe has the belief that, and it is a true belief, and I'm going to ask you guys about this. Wrestlers are wrestlers, wrestlers are athletes, wrestlers are entertainers. You cover the gamut.
Right.
Okay. But that's all it is. And I'm like, no, there has to be more somewhere. So I would like to extend the challenge. And if he's watching, and he better be, I challenge you guys. And if not, these two are going to extend the challenge to you from me. Okay?
Well, I'll say this in response to that, just to sort of encompass the entire question as a whole. Everybody who walks through that curtain at Warriors of Wrestling is my brother or sister. It's a brotherhood. It's a family. I have so much respect for what they do in the ring. I would never talk down to them. I only speak up of them.
Oh, no.
And just to say in response, I think it's so unfortunate I only get to see these people once every 4 to 6 weeks. So I would love to play some softball with them, to see them more often. The issue is that most of these guys, independent wrestling doesn't pay too well.
Right.
So they're working, 5-6 days a week full time trying to make a living for themselves and their families.
Although we do have a ringer in this one.
Although
A
I
hell of a
will
ball
say,
player.
I kind of wish my crew would work as hard as you guys at WOW. Sorry, crew. As they now, I see a couple of fingers being flipped to me. Yes, I know I'm number one. Thank you, guys. So, do you guys see WOW? I don't even know how to put this properly. Is there anyone that you guys could see outside of you stepping up to the next level? Because I would imagine that that's the end game.
Right.
Is to get to the next level.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah, I think, again, going from the beginning of the company to where we are now, I think where we are now, we have the top level of independent talent in the Northeast. And that's, I mean, I'll put that up against anybody. I mean, you can get companies that'll bring in talent that goes all over the place, but in terms of local talent, there's nobody better than us. There's nobody putting on better shows than us. I think there's quite a few guys on the roster now who have, without a doubt, the ability. There are guys who've gone to tryouts before. It's certainly not easy driving or taking a plane down to Florida. You get whatever feedback they got, and they do it once a year. So every year these are guys that come down.
Not everyone started with us, obviously. We acquire talent along the way. We strive to be the best, and if there's somebody else out there in the independent wrestling scene who we feel would help our company improve, we're gonna say, please come work for us. Are you free on this date? Let's get together and put on amazing matches. Joey Ace wasn't always with us, but that guy's got a ton of talent. Jack Gallo.
Gallo's pretty insane.
I mean, yeah, a lot of these guys acquire along the way. You learn something new every show.
And these are all guys I could testify for, having been in the ring with them, having, kicked ass, gotten my ass kicked by them. But these guys are all as legit as it gets.
Professionals.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you, since you just said that, what is it like to step in the ring? Because I would imagine growing up being a big wrestling fan.
Oh, yeah.
When you step in the ring with somebody you watched growing up, because here's the deal. Having this show, I like to pay homage to guys like Carson, like Carol Burnett. People like that.
Right.
Those are people who I looked up to. And like George Carlin also doing stand-up. If I was on the same bill with a George Carlin, I think I would poop myself.
Yeah, it's...
But
I get it.
But you, on the other hand, you get to get in the ring, mix it up with someone that you grew up watching.
Right.
Is that, how surreal is that you're then fighting someone that you grew up watching?
It's pretty amazing, honestly. Like exactly how you said, to be able to know that you're on the bill with somebody who you've looked up to as a kid. I mean, there's no real way to explain it. I remember for a promo that I had cut for a match that I was doing against Just Incredible. It's a former ECW champion. I grew up watching ECW. I paid and went to go see ECW at the Elks Lodge in Queens every time they were there. I stayed up till 1 in the morning. If any ECW fan knows, you stay up till 1 in the morning to watch it on the MSG network. And getting in the ring with that guy and being able to do that, it was, I mean, I count that as, probably top 5 moments, like, in my life in general. And there's been plenty of other guys. I could single out Just Incredible, but there's been plenty of other guys who I've shared locker rooms with or, had conversations with or, shared car rides with. Anything like that, just to be able to have that experience is absolutely amazing.
Goldust was a big one for me. We had him at a show in August. He was actually on Monday Night Raw. 2 days later, after the show on Saturday, that Monday he was on Monday Night Raw, and I had no idea he would be there. But it was just such an incredible experience. This guy's been all over the world, worked for the biggest company in all of professional wrestling, and it's just amazing to see him and talk to him, and you realize like this guy, he's a real guy, and he's so professional, such a nice guy. I can't speak higher of him. Amazing.
Now, okay, Goldust is kind of someone like this, but has anyone ever gotten in your mug? I mean, you're right there, right off of ringside, right off the ring.
Yeah.
Has there ever been a point where someone just got in your, either too angry or too psyched or too pissed, or the action's gone outside the ring, and you just found yourself dead in the wrong spot at the wrong time?
Actually, at our last show, there was a moment where a guy went to the top rope, and he was about to jump over, and right before he jumped, he looked me dead in the eyes, and he goes, "Don't move." And then he jumped onto the other guys right over my head. I usually flee pretty quickly. Any match with weapons, anything like that, I get far away. if there's blood at all. I want no part of it. I'm there to speak loudly, ring the bell when it's necessary, and no more. I don't like getting hurt. I took one bump in the ring one time, never again. That's why I have a lot of respect for these guys. It hurts. Anyone who says wrestling's fake, find somebody with a wrestling ring, fall on your back one time. You're going to do it improperly. See how much it hurts, and then talk smack.
Yeah.
Well, see, in my youth, I happen to have played semi-pro baseball for 3 years. Before I wound up getting the gestation period of this elephant that I'm carrying. Actually, it's really Derek Jeter's baby I'm carrying. But at one point, I was that athlete. And look, when an athlete retires, and I talk about it in my stand-up all the time, there's two types of athletes once they retire. The type that stay in shape and keep it going, and the type that just say F it and let themselves go.
Right.
And obviously, I just keep on going to the gym every single day. Now let's talk about something that's coming up really soon.
Right.
April 5th, here in Brooklyn, New York, at Bishop Ford High School, these guys are coming in to Brooklyn to kick some hiney. Now, you, sir.
Yes.
Going for a No Limit Championship.
Yes.
In a 4-way.
Well, it's actually going to be a 5-way.
Is it going to be a 6-way?
Nope, 5-way.
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 And we're not talking about one of my relations.
No.
No, I'm going to keep that to you.
Wait a second. So it's No Limits champ Chris Banks.
Remember the name.
Chris Banks.
Yeah, you know.
You.
Right.
Mike Verna, who is a pit bull.
Yeah,
that's a large man.
He is a vicious, and he just has this like look in his eye that he's hungry and he's on that verge.
The circumference of his bicep is actually larger than his waist. He's that big.
Yeah.
Is it really?
I don't know.
I'd put money on it.
I'm putting him over.
And besides these three gentlemen, there is also Talon.
Talon, yes.
And Talon is, well, Talon's a Talon. He's a hawk. And outside helping these two gentlemen out, helping out Talon will be Scotty Priest. And helping out Mr.
You're thinking Mike Verna with
Jay
George on the outside.
The unpredictable Jay George.
Yes. So I see it as 6 on basic. Look, I know it's every man for himself, but it's you and Banks against the 4 of them, basically. So before you even answer the question,
right,
let me put it out there. Much like I told Bellini, I will tell you. If you need help, I will be ringside. I will jump. I will push my way through the barricade. Because let's face it, I don't jump. I will help you two cats out because let me tell you something. Scotty needs a beatdown, as does that Ricky Ricardo wannabe Jean-George.
Right.
So
I would agree with you.
I mean, you guys are in there for a fight of your lives, and it's not going to be enough you versus Banks. You got these two knuckleheads on you as well.
Right. Well, the first thing I also have to mention is the 5th guy that was added to this match is Michael Massacre, who was a guy I wrestled at the last Warriors of Wrestling show, who, I mean, really pushed me to my limit. The kid is brand new in Warriors of Wrestling. This was his first match on the main card, and he's definitely not somebody to be taken lightly at all. So he's also being thrown into the mix, so it's going to be a No Limits 5-way match. I think the misconception that you have about the match is the fact that it's me and Banks kind of having to watch our backs against everybody, when in reality, I completely need to watch my back against him. Me and Banks, as much as, we might have issues with everybody else in that match, there's no love lost between us. Banks and I feuded over the No Limits belt for quite some time, maybe about 2 years ago. There's no issue I have with him currently, but at the end of the day, I want to walk home with that belt.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you. But, I mean, having those two crows out there.
It's, again, these are guys who I've been in the ring with Scotty Priest many times. I've got my hands on Jay George, not enough of my hands on him, but I got just a taste of it. And you know, again, I have to look at this as two guys who are non-factors. I need to focus on everything going on within the match, within the ring, because the pinfall submission's going to happen there. I can't focus on anybody else outside the
Winning
ring.
the belt is important, but for me, the most important thing is just for everybody to be safe, not get too hurt. That way you're not complaining the following day how much you are in pain. Because we've had some pretty bad luck in ladder matches with
Right.
Dirtbag Dan flying off and the ladder falling out from under him and him falling 20 feet to the floor.
Right.
And Jason Karloff, who's hurt currently, his ladder flying into the crowd and hitting a lady in the crowd.
Really?
Complete bizarre accidents.
Yeah.
Okay, so like I said, guys, it's April 5th. It's Bishop Ford. Go to warriorsofwrestling.com for tickets. April 5th, Bishop Ford. I want to see you guys there. And they can use the support. So, we'll be back with more show right after this. Right now, and once again, here is Macalela and David Cornero. That was absolutely fantastic. Let me ask you guys a question. Being that you guys are more in the jazz field, do you guys think that jazz doesn't get the proper respect that most other musics get?
Well, I guess A lot of things come from jazz. So essentially, back when jazz was created around the 1920s, really went from blues to jazz to rock to bebop. You know, like everything kind of evolved from that. So it's kind of like the predecessor to everything. But it gets its respect. You know, maybe not as popular as some stuff, but still gets its due. So.
I mean, you can never go wrong with someone like a Coltrane.
Yeah, no, Coltrane's great. So.
And speaking of that, who would you guys say are your influences?
Well, here, I'll give this to David. Let him say some stuff.
No, man. Me no English.
No, he's good.
I don't know. Actually, I'm not like a jazz player. I just like playing music, and it's always hard for me to say who is like my biggest influence. If I would have to say someone, would be like my dad and my mom, and they don't even play music. They are just great people. So I don't know. I have like a boring answer, I guess.
No. There's never a boring answer. Some slower questions sometimes, but never boring answers. Now I know both of you, besides regular venues, also play down the subway.
That's true. Yeah.
So there has to be a big difference between playing like a venue like a Spike Hill, like a regular, like a concert venue,
Right. Yeah.
and the subway. Whether it's dealing with a-holes on the train,
Yeah.
or people just saying, "Shut up! I just want to go home. I just want to go to work," and someone paying to see you at a venue. So, what would those differences be, or is it just acoustically a difference?
Yeah, well, there's definitely some differences. If you play at a show, you know, usually people will clap, but in the subway, it can be a little disheartening sometimes. You'll get you'll finish a song like, oh wow, that felt great, and then complete silence. You know, so okay, let's move on to the next one. It's
Sort of like a host doing a joke that should have killed because it's killed at open mics, but yet that's just an open mic.
exactly like that. Yeah.
So, that being said, a place, at least in my mind, that I would say would be a great venue would be a place like Birdland, for example.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the higher echelon venues in New York City. So.
Which is what I was about to ask you: is how do you feel? Have you been there yet?
Me personally, no. No, neither of us have played at Birdland.
See, now that just gives me something inside saying that people watch the show. You guys got to get in contact with these guys and give them their crack, because I saw what's his face from the Police, who now has not a triplet, no, not Sting, oh yeah, Andy Summers, that's it. Funny, the host should know who he saw, but it's seeing him just play nothing but blues and jazz after doing nothing but Police for like 20 years, and then everyone's coming up to him talking jazz, and poor little old me, poor big old me, comes up to him with about 20 Police albums, and he's looking at me, you know. So, I mean, I would think that would be a place that you guys would want to play.
Yeah, it would be nice, you know. They do a lot of jazz. We play sometimes jazz, but we try to do a lot of different genres, just keep ourselves busy and entertained. You know, it's good to do different things. I'm sure you do, you know, like this comedy show and then also stand up and stuff. So.
Or at least I try to. Now, doing other things, that brings me to you, David. I know you teach.
Yes, I do.
So, if you had a student like me, now if you put me in front of a drum set, much like with the WoW guys, I would poop myself. But to be honest, how do you handle students who really shouldn't be anywhere near a drum set, but think they do?
Well, first of all, I just make them sit behind the drums and tell them, okay, just play. Because usually people tell me, I've never played drums. And then once they loosen up a little bit, they just start to play. If they really don't have like no idea, if you can just count like from 1 to 4, like you can start playing some drums. If you can just clap on 2 and 4, like 1, 2, 3. Actually, can you hold this? Like 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like that's a backbeat, and like that's the foundation of like pop music, rock music, funk music, jazz, like for a lot of things. And then from that you just build up. Okay, we're going to do that. Now we're going to count, but play on the hi hat 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to add the snare on 2 and 4, to add the bass drum on 1 and 3, and then slowly you start to play more and more and have fun.
So it's basically everyone does have to start out going, bomb, bomb, bomb. Because I know everybody wants to finish, like you. But this is basically how everybody must start, right?
Like I don't believe like in absolutes, but before you wanna run, you gotta like walk. So yeah, you just gotta make it easy first, and then get like a really good foundation, get like a really good grasp of the basics, and then after that you can just move on and like I know improve.
Which is why I am here and not at ABC. Hopefully. Okay, I want to thank both of you gentlemen for stopping by.
Thank you.
And you'll play us out when we're done?
Definitely, yeah.
Cool. That being said, we come to our comic. Now listen, let me tell you something about my stand-up comic. Picture me, but Spanish, and there you have your comic. Everyone, he's a friend of mine. He is Mr. Hector Luis.
All right. I'm not from Spain, Cyclone. I'm actually from Brooklyn, born and bred. Okay, but okay.
Brooklyn,
I'm
you
sorry.
have Hector Luis.
Okay, I'm sorry. English too little. This guy from Spain. All right, what's up, everybody? What's up, Brooklyn? I am so happy to be in Brooklyn doing comedy. Brooklyn. I live in Brooklyn. Now, here's the thing. Everybody talks about gentrification. I love gentrification, and I'm going to tell you why. I mean, at first everyone's like, oh, the neighborhood's going. But, I'm from the last generation of poor kids that grew up in Williamsburg. That's right. I still live in Williamsburg. Don't be too impressed. I was there back when it was crappy. So anyway, now, in Williamsburg, all the poor kids, we were taught to, like, work hard and get out, get out of the neighborhood. And most of my friends, they worked hard, and they got out the neighborhood, and I smoked a lot of pot and played Xbox, and several years later, here comes the neighborhood. Now, here's the thing. Most of my friends that worked hard and got out, they can't afford to get back in. And with me, I'm the magical Puerto Rican, the one that never goes away. That's right. And you know what's the funny thing about my neighborhood when I knew gentrification was taking hold? When the plexiglass came down at the Chinese kitchen. That was the crazy. No, because you don't understand. Buying food in the Chinese kitchen, okay, back when it was a bad neighborhood, was like a hostage situation. You had to go, you had to put your money first. That was the thing. You had to put your money first, otherwise they're not doing anything. So you put your money in. Now you have to bring down this big thing. They push a bar. They tell you, hold it down. Hold it down. Now you have to hold this thing down. They push this big steel bar through. They take your money, put your change, put your food. Now you only got a couple of seconds before this thing comes swinging down again. So now you got to grab your stuff quick. I'm talking about, I've bought drugs in a less complicated fashion. This is weird when there's no laughter in the studio. Freaking weird. But yeah, now here's the thing. I live on an avenue in Brooklyn, Williamsburg. It's called the Avenue of Puerto Rico. And I'm the last freaking reason why that sign is up there. There is a guy in the van from the Department of Traffic just waiting for me to leave. Just waiting so he can cut that ladder and get that sign down. Just last week, I came down with 3 garbage bags. He started pulling out the ladder. I'm like, no, I'm throwing out the garbage. We can afford luggage now. Honestly, it's, But yeah. Now, here's the thing, though. My favorite part about gentrification is they deliver weed in my neighborhood now. That is a beautiful thing. This brings a tear to my eye. Because you don't understand. Buying weed before, I used to have to go into neighborhoods that I would be afraid to walk in. So now you make a phone call. 40 minutes later, the world's most stereotypical looking stoner shows up, and he has a whole plethora. Plethora, that's right, gentrification. We use the word plethora now. There's a whole plethora of different types of weed, and they give you brownies. And as a fat guy and a stoner, okay, pot brownies, that's a gift from God. I mean, thank you, gentrification. I never would have tasted a pot brownie. You took two of my favorite things, put them together. Now it's a weekend. It is awesome. But yeah, you know, does anyone here grew up with the same kind of situation that I did, with the same kind of affliction, having a cheap dad? No, just me? Cheap dad? Yeah. My dad was the worst. I mean, it could be 900 degrees in the apartment, wouldn't turn on a fan. I'm like, Dad, please, can you just for a little while? I mean, you shouldn't be sweating from your eyelids. Okay? And he's like, no. We're Puerto Rican, you're supposed to like it hot. He was the worst. One day he came home with an air conditioner. No, don't get too impressed. No, they closed down the bodega. He got the air conditioner. And we're like, great, we got AC. And he's like, no, that's not for you. That's for the company and special occasions. Yeah, see, in my dad's world, a special occasion was when anyone who wasn't in the family would cross the doorway. So that's right, special occasions was any time, especially Christmas. You should never have an air conditioner on in the house during Christmas. All our family Christmas photos, we're wearing coats and we're inside the house. Oh, it's the worst. It's the worst. But of course, the worst part about Christmas when you have a cheap dad is all your gifts come from the 99-cent store. You know how messed up that is? When everything is almost a brand name, but not quite. Instead of Operation, we got Procedure. Instead of Connect 4, we have 4 in a row. And instead of Trouble, we had Deep Shit. It'd be embarrassing. We wouldn't want to invite any of our friends over, you know, because we're playing knockoff games. But during the summertime, it's the only way they turn on the AC. Anyway, I got to get out of here because the folks from child support found out I'm working and But anyway, whenever you get a chance, check out HectorLuis.com. Thanks a lot. Cyclone, come on over here. Take care, guys.
Thanks a lot, Hector. I appreciate you coming down.
Thanks.
Now, listen, first of all, we go back a long time, and I goofed about it a little while ago, but the fact of the matter is, I miss doing open mics, at least with you, because, I mean, look, this show, it's a love struggle of mine, okay? It's a love-hate relationship. But I have newfound respect for you and for everybody else that runs open mics, and I am so jealous.
I stopped running open mics. I ran them for 13 years. Done. I don't produce anything. In fact, I will be producing something soon. If you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Soon. Expect to see a special called Planet Comedy right here on Brick. That's going to be a good time.
After this day, are you sure you don't want to go back to open mics and, like, leave here?
I'd rather be staked naked to an anthill before doing open mics again. Actually, I'd just rather get staked to an anthill. That's just sounds like a good time.
And, you know, you talk about, you know, having Puerto Rican parents that like it hot.
Yeah.
I'm Jewish. Let me put it to you like this. My parents, especially my mom, I love you so much, Mom. You talk about heat and Judaism. I mean, talk about acid flashback without the acid.
I don't remember mentioning Judaism. I don't.
But anyways, that being said,
yeah,
I want to thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Now listen up, guys. April 24th. It's a Thursday. Same Cyclone time, same Cyclone channels. I'll be back. April 24th, right here. We're doing it again live. All new guests, all new show. Unless, of course, they kick me the heck out of here. Once again, I want to thank everybody for coming down here. I got to thank my hard-working crew, especially the ones all sleeping in the control room right now. I want to thank my guests for showing up. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
And for all you guys watching at home, I am Cyclone saying, stay humble, America.